I realized that I'm doing everything in the business. Why can't I do it for my own business? So the only issue was I didn't know how to get clients. So as soon as I started putting myself out there as someone that does architectural drawings or can provide you with architectural services, the clients started coming in. So I started doing my own 1-2 jobs on the side. And then come March now, they've made me redundant. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to go full steam ahead with my own thing.
What's going on, people, and welcome back to the Blackprint, providing aspiring black entrepreneurs and business owners the blueprint to start your success story. I'm your host, Bainey, and today I'm joined by a very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got Joel Gati in the building.
You got to put some sort of sound there for me, man.
Bro, I might need to get you as part of my creative team because I like that idea.
Soon come, man. Soon come.
Well, to be fair, what you do is in the creative space, side, so yeah. I like that. So on that,
flowing, yeah.
There we go. On that, then, for people that don't know, who are you? What do you do?
So my name is Joel Gati, founder of JNG Architectural Studio. We work with buyers, whether it's first-time buyers, developers, homeowners. We help them add value to their property. So essentially, I've got 2 degrees. I've got my architectural degree and I've got my planning degree. I'm not a fully qualified architect, so I can't call myself an architect yet, but I'm an architectural planner. So essentially, with my planning background, I'm able to see whether people will get planning for what they want to design for their properties. A lot of architects nowadays are just literally taking people's monies. They don't even know what can or can't be built. So with my background, I'm able to see ahead and kind of give my clients my honest opinion on whether they can get planning for whatever they want to achieve.
Okay. Now, what's interesting for those who have been rocking with the Blackprint and watching the last few episodes, you're probably gonna notice a theme in this episode, last episode, 2 episodes. It'll be 3 episodes ago. Denzel's one, a lot of property stuff, and again, for transparency for the audience, Denzel put us in touch, right? And hence why there's been a theme recently. Just sat down, as you know, with Sean about an hour ago, talking property as well, and his world. But obviously, you're coming from a slightly different perspective, right? So I guess, forgive me, because I'm not the most clued up when it comes to, particularly when it comes to architectural stuff, right?
Yeah.
When you say planning and whether people can get what they want in their planning and all that type of stuff, just paint a picture for me. What does that actually mean?
So in the UK, we can't just do whatever we want to our house. You can't just extend, like, if you could, like, you'll just want to extend here, make here bigger, but you can't do that. You'd have to go through a planning process, which takes 8 weeks to get approved. So a lot of people do it to flip houses and to add value to their properties. So whether it's because you've moved into a house and you think the kitchen is a bit too small, you want to make it bigger for maybe you have a big family or your family's getting bigger, you want to extend the kitchen or the dining area, you have to go through the planning process. So that's what my role is. I will take you through that process, whether it's a loft conversion, side extension, just making your property bigger. You have to get planning for it. Some country, maybe in Africa or stuff like that, you don't need planning for that. You can just do it and then just tip someone. But here, there's no one to tip. You have to actually go through the full process. So we'll take you through that smoothly and successfully, hopefully, and get you planning approved.
Okay, cool. And so where did it all begin then? Obviously, you mentioned your background in terms of your degrees, etc. So talk me through kind of your decision-making process in terms of even studying that as a degree. Where did the kind of interest in that come from? And then, how did we get to kind of starting JNG Architectural Studios?
So for a long time, I felt like I've always had that creative side to me. I've kind of liked art and I've kind of liked property. So architecture is probably the only way I could have combined the two together, my creative side and my love for property. So, it allows me to express myself in designs and speaking to people. One thing about me, you realize I'm not a confident person. So speaking to people sometimes gets a bit awkward and uncomfortable. But this has actually helped me to come out of my comfort zone, and it's actually allowed me to start a business in architecture. So yeah, did I answer your question?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was really just kind of where did the interest come from for you to then obviously go up and do it in uni. And look, to be fair, I mean, given what you just said about not necessarily being confident, it makes me even more appreciative of your time and coming onto the podcast, because I know for some people that's obviously quite a big thing to do, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I do appreciate that. And so, okay, cool. So you made a decision to study architecture, and it kind of solidified your interest in both kind of creative and arts and design and property, right? Where did your journey kind of go after that from university? Because if I'm not mistaken, architecture is it's a lengthy degree, no?
It's a lengthy degree. So I've only done 5 years. I studied in the University of West of England, which is in Bristol. I did 5 years there. Well, I did 4 years there and a year in France. So I've done a year abroad.
Tu parles français?
Un peu.
Bro, that's all I know. So let me never pretend like man speaks French.
Yeah, I can't either. Like when I went there, when people say bonjour, I couldn't even respond to them because I didn't have a clue. But it has helped me to at least understand a little bit of French, because since then I've been to Morocco, I've been to Monaco, which is also in France, and it's allowed me to actually speak to people to some extent. But like I said, I did 5 years in Bristol, and yeah, it is a lengthy degree. Graduated, all glory to God, I graduated. When I started my actual course, there was probably about 30 of us on the course.
Yeah.
When we graduated, probably about 8 of us graduated. So
wow, from 30.
You get it. So it was just kicking people out, just kicking people's asses left, right, centre. So people were just dropping like flies.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, after that, then I actually found a job. It wasn't the best paid job, but it was kind of my way to get my foot into the degree, like sort of my role. So it wasn't the well paid job. I started it, and then the problem with that job is that my boss was a crackhead. So when I say crackhead, he liked drugs, like always coming to the office high, smelling of weeds. Like sometimes on his lunch break, he'll go to the toilet, roll a quick joint.
No way.
On the toilet counter, literally when you go there, you'll see all the crumbs there.
This is the guy that owned the business.
That's the guy that owned the business.
Wow.
And he was like, he was doing good for himself. Like he had a lot of money.
Wow,
but that's the owner of the business. So for me, that was kind of like the light bulb moment. I was like, rah, this is the guy that's owning the business and paying me. Like, this is the guy I'm calling my boss. So
because you want that person to some degree, you want to be able to not necessarily look up to that person, but at least see yourself in their shoes in a few years' time, right?
So see them as some sort of role model, some sort of person you can look up to. But I couldn't with that guy.
Yeah.
So I knew long term I couldn't stay there. So I knew long term that business, hopefully not. I don't want to wish bad on people, but it was probably gonna come crashing down because of the sort of guy he is. So I didn't want to be there and be around when it comes crashing down. So I quickly thought to myself, I should probably look to start my own or look to find another job soon. So I did. I looked for another job. I got another job, all glory to God. And then not long after I started a new job, like even when I started, they promised me, we'll pay for your masters for you to go and do this. We'll get you doing this. We'll get you doing that. 3 months in, contracts dried up. It dried up completely. So I was
so business wise, things were drying up.
Yeah, like clients wise, it was not coming in. It was not coming in for them. So this was about getting to a winter season. Winter season is normally dry for architecture because you don't want people coming into your houses during winter, during Christmas season and all of that. So it's a bit hard for us to get clients around that season.
Yeah.
So understandably, it was drying up, but other people are doing it. Other people are making it work during that season. So my thing is like, why is it not working here? So we still have to get paid. So I don't understand what the problem is. So I started looking for my own clients. So come around January, I've got 1-2 clients coming in for myself. And
as in that you're doing on the side.
I'm doing on my side. You see what I'm saying? Whilst working full time. So I'll do my 9 to 5, go home, do some drawings, speak to my clients. So I'm doing a couple stuff on the side. Come March now, they've made me redundant. And they said, I'm not pulling my weight. But I knew that's not the reason. The reason was because they're not getting enough money coming in to be able to pay my wages. So...
silly question. I'm very sorry to cut you off here, but was getting clients not part of your job at this place, or
No.
they would get the clients and
yeah.
they would just farm the work to you type of thing.
That's the
Fine,
thing. So they would find their own clients, bring them to me. I would speak to them, understand what they want to do, set up all the drawings for them, submit the plans to the council, liaise with the council on their behalf, and essentially get the approval for them. So that's what my role was. So I realized that I'm doing everything in the business. Why can't I do it for my own business? So the only issue was I didn't know how to get clients. So as soon as I started putting myself out there as someone that does architectural drawings or can provide you with architectural services, the clients started coming in. So I started doing my own 1-2 jobs on the side. And then come March now, they've made me redundant. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to go full steam ahead with my own thing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you want to own your own business.
Yeah.
You want to own your own business, and you don't want to work for any Tom, Dick and Harry. So
yeah, especially one that's
So-
doing drugs all day. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how I started my thing.
yeah, okay. And so, what years are we talking in terms of uni, and then joining the first place, leaving, and joining the second place?
So I graduated in 2021. Spent a year at my first job, a year at my second one. So 2023 is when I started my own JNG Architectural Studio.
Nice.
And then it's been 2 years ever since I started.
Yeah. No, brilliant. So we're relatively new into the journey, which is what I like, because I do also like speaking to people a bit earlier on in their journey because of the nature of the podcast. I don't necessarily want to say to people, I'm only speaking to people that are 10 years plus because they've got no, because ultimately I want people to just start. Do you get what I mean? Which is why I started the podcast. I want people to just start their businesses, and so for example, you might be that person that's kind of that next step ahead of somebody because you've started and you're kind of freshly into the journey, right? Yeah. So no, cool. And you mentioned around ultimately putting yourself out there as somebody who's providing architectural design services.
How did I do that?
What? Yeah. How are you doing that while working somewhere?
so essentially, I work my 9 to 5, and then I have the rest of the day to do whatever I want to do. So in that time, I could be speaking to people. I don't know, creating content, going to networking events. One of my biggest clients that I've still got up to today, I got at a networking event. They're an estate agent, so that's where you're going to get buyers. That's where you're going to get buyers. So people come to them looking to buy a house, because a lot of people buy houses not because it's a finished product, because they see the potential in the house. So they buy a house and then they say to the estate agent, oh, do you know any architects you can recommend to us? That's when my name comes in the picture. And he said, oh yeah, I know a guy called Joel. He owns a company called JNG Architectural Studio. I can pass you over his details. And then that's how we become in contact. And then, that becomes a client now.
Okay.
So,
So silly question. So if anybody wanted to, like, literally anyone who owns a home basically wanted to kind of do an extension or do something, they would have to, do they have to instruct a kind of architect or someone with architectural design? Or
the thing is, you don't. But the thing is, if you want it done properly, it's better to speak to someone that knows what they're doing. If I want to build a house, I'm not going to just try and build it myself. I'm not a builder. I'm going to speak to a builder. If I'm trying to buy a house and I want to know the best deals on the property, I'm going to probably speak to an estate agent or a deal sourcer. If I'm going to fly a plane, I'm not going to fly it myself. I'm going to get a pilot to fly it. So if you want someone to design an extension for you, it's better off you speak to an architect, because we get a lot of clients come to us and they're like, oh, we tried to do this, we tried to do that, but it hasn't worked. I'm like, because that's not your job. That's not your job. But
no, okay. And you also made the distinction earlier between kind of architectural design, what you do, and saying that calling yourself an architect is protected. And I know that for some being called a lawyer is protected, right? What is the distinction between the two then? What is the actual difference? I know, is it literally, if you just finished like is it 2 years that you had on your degree?
It's 3 years extra, and then I can call myself an architect.
Is that literally it?
That's literally it.
Okay, fine.
So that's why a lot of people don't actually go back to uni to finish off their degree, because like just having the knowledge. And for me, I know that what I can get from staying in uni for another 3 years, I could probably gain more from working on the field for those 3 years. So for me, I've learned so much actually doing the work rather than sitting in a classroom trying to write notes, which I'm not probably going to look back at. You understand? So I would rather do the work rather than just sit there and listen to someone that doesn't own a firm.
Yeah.
Someone that's just getting paid to literally read slides. You get it? So,
but then silly question, would you not be able to command more fee wise if you had the kind of stamp of architect?
For me, I feel like people's work speak for themselves. If you've seen my work and you want that quality of work, then you're going to want to pay my fee. But if I haven't got any work to show you and I'm just saying, yeah, I'm just someone that hasn't finished my degree, come and pay me to do your work, I would understand why people wouldn't want to pay. But that's why I've made a cautious effort to put my work out there so that people can see what I can offer. That's very important because you need to know what you can offer people. So there's no point me trying to push myself out there, but they can't see what I can offer. So yeah, that's the cautious effort I've made nowadays to try and put my work out there, bring people along on my journey, and then yeah, essentially whatever price I've said like my service is, hopefully you can pay that, and then we can take it from there.
And have you ever had people literally turn around and say, "Oh, but if you're not an architect, then..." Have you ever come across that, or have you fortunately been all right in that sense?
No, because one thing I've learned is to try and be confident. People can tell when you're not who you say you are. So by the way I talk and by the amount of experience I've built up doing what I'm doing, I can talk to someone and they wouldn't have to like cross-check whether I'm an architect or not. They would assume by the way this guy is talking, he knows what he's talking about. I'm going to trust this guy. So essentially, I've never had someone ask me, "Oh, have you finished your degree?" Like, because it hasn't come to that point, and hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah. By the way, the reason I'm asking those types of questions is because I'm actually just speaking to people who feel you need, well, basically people just making excuses why they can't start something, right? So for example, I'm thinking maybe if there's people out there who, maybe architecture is their thing, that's what they want to go into, you're obviously living proof that you don't even need to finish a degree to then be able to carve out a successful kind of business out of it, right? Yeah. And so yeah, I do very much like that. Okay, so I want to kind of talk about your experiences in terms of in the workplace and how that wasn't. But before I do that, actually, how did you and why did you end up kind of going into work before? Well, why didn't you finish the degree, basically?
So why didn't I go and do my... So I finished my degree. But
sorry, you finished the degree.
Yeah.
You didn't do the master's.
Sorry, I probably said that wrong. I finished my degree. I done my...
The 5 years.
Yeah. And then I didn't go on to do my master's.
Yes, which is what... The master's is what will get you kind of... Yeah.
Yeah. So why didn't I go on to do that? Because like I said, I felt like I could learn more on the field rather than in a classroom.
Yeah, fine.
So I knew straight away, if I leave uni and I take... Because they advise going to work for a year before coming to do your master's. And for me, I felt like that was like...
Once I do that, like, see
once
later,
I do that,
you don't
in
see
a bit,
me again.
you don't see me again. So for me, I started working and I was like, nah, let me just carry on doing this.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people that haven't even been to uni and they're still making it in life. So if I've done at least 5 years, for me, 5 years is more than enough.
That's more than a lot more.
You get
a lot of
people do 3 years. I did 5 years. So I feel like 5 years, I'm more than ready to actually go on and start something. So yeah, that's probably why I didn't finish go and do my master's, but I feel like it was the right choice. I have no regrets.
No, as long as it's the right choice for you, right?
Yeah.
And again, sorry, before I come on to the kind of the working, I want to touch on your year in France, because again, someone who said that they're not particularly confident or they don't feel they're particularly confident. I think going to live abroad for a year is... Well, it takes a certain level of confidence, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah. So talk to me about that. I mean, was that something that was not necessarily forced upon you by the university, but did you presumably you didn't have to go abroad, did you?
No, you didn't. You didn't have to go abroad, but it was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to kind of learn architecture in another space because UK is proper protected, and quite constrained with the sizes of stuff we can do. When you go to other countries, even in Africa, you can get a massive building like a living room that's probably the size of someone's whole house. You get it?
Yeah.
So, like, I wanted to learn architecture in another culture and, just probably, like, network with other people as well. So it was a good opportunity for me to speak to people that are in France. Like, my lecturer, he was a big-time architect in France. He's taught in French, which was a problem for me.
Taught in French as well,
Taught in French, which was a problem for me. But he could also speak English because he worked in America as well, and he also lived in UK. So he's got that wide range of knowledge about architecture from different backgrounds, countries, continents. Like he's got like a wide range of knowledge in architecture. So yeah, it was a good opportunity for me to speak to other people rather than just people that are stuck in Bristol. Yeah.
And again, the reason I'm asking that is because I think there's something in that with regards to putting yourself out there, going out, exploring different cultures, environments, as you kind of said, and really learning your craft from the perspective of somebody else, right? As you said, if you just stayed in Bristol for 5 years, all you're going to know is kind of the way things are done in the UK, Bristol, regulation, etc., exactly, right? Yeah. But putting yourself out there. So I do think that's a very powerful message to kind of the listeners in terms of, yeah, as I say, learning your craft, going out there, putting yourself out there, putting yourself in different and uncomfortable environments that would allow you to kind of grow, right? So would you say you saw kind of growth in yourself? I know you mentioned obviously learning how things are done in France, but aside from kind of picking up a bit of French, petit français, aside from picking up a little bit of French, would you say you saw growth in yourself over that year?
Do you know what's sad about that year? That's when COVID started.
So
I only managed to spend 6 months there. I had to come and finish off that year. Yeah. So the way it was going good, but I had to come back before the borders closed. So I spent about probably 7 months there, and then I had to come back. But in the 7 months that I was there, like I feel like the thing that enhanced most for me was my design knowledge. Like they would literally, how do I say this? We would have a project, they would literally rip into your project. Like
really?
we did a lot of model making. So he would literally get up scissors and cut it up. Say, put this there, cut it up, put this there, and bearing in mind we probably haven't slept making that model.
Hurrah.
We stayed up all night trying to make that model, try and make it perfect. And this guy comes with scissors and just chop. You understand?
Yeah.
But that's how architecture is. Like, I don't think there's ever an end to it. It can keep going on and on and on and on and on and on. You can keep getting more ideas to develop your things. So that's probably what I learned from staying in France, that you shouldn't be too sentimental about some of your projects and your designs. You need to like probably experiment a bit more, which I learned how to do there. Nice.
Okay. So you came back, finished the degree in the UK, and then obviously you mentioned you started working for the guy who was just on his own stuff. So obviously we laugh about it, but talk to me about that experience working there, and because what were you doing at that business?
So I was just literally, they were bringing the clients. I was literally sitting there doing drawings. I was doing a lot of surveys as well. So I'd go and survey a property, a measured survey. So literally you get out a laser and you literally just measure wall to wall so that when we go back to the office to do the drawings, it's proper accurate, because some of these designs go on to get structurally calculated. So if I'm about a meter off, someone's going to get a meter off steel beam, which you can imagine if a steel beam here was a meter off, upstairs will be sitting on top of you. Like you're literally four. So it's important work that we have to do in the design stage, which I felt, is the word honoured, or I felt like my role was properly like needed. So I took the most out of it, and I learned as much as I could and took it on to my next role.
What's interesting about that as well? I mean, what was the size of the business? I mean, how many staff did they have?
Probably about 5 people.
Yeah, so quite a small business.
Quite a small business.
What's interesting as well is obviously just sat with Sean, and he was talking about going and getting work in kind of small businesses because it gives you the exposure to do a lot of different things within that environment. And it sounds like that's exactly what happened. That's what happened with you, right? So again, a similar vein to kind of I guess 7 months in Paris, or was it Paris? I just assumed it was Paris. You didn't say it was Paris, did you?
Yeah, it was Paris.
Yeah, okay, fine. Similar vein to that. So kind of over that year that you were there, what was your in terms of kind of next steps? Because it sounds like you quite early on picked up that it's not going to be something that you're going to be for a very long time or a very long time. So just talk to me in terms of the development of your mindset and thinking of the next moves and kind of your growth within that time frame. Talk to me about that.
What, within the time frame I was in France?
No, sorry. In the first place with this guy. Yeah, because as much as we're kind of laughing about the fact that the manager or the boss was on his own stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure, kind of just speaking to you, it sounds like you at least would have taken advantage of what it was kind of what it was offering you,
100%.
given the exposure you were getting as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, just talk to me about.
That's the most important thing with architecture. Like, even going on to start your own thing, you're not gonna know everything before you go and start your own business. Even if it's, I don't know, dance. You're a dancer. You're not gonna know every dance move before you go and say, I want to dance in front of the Queen. Like, you need to actually say that what I know is enough to go and start it, and that's what I did. So for me, when I was in my first firm, I was just there to sponge up information, sponge up as much as I could, because the guy, even though he was on his own stuff, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to learn as much as I could off him, and essentially finish a project from beginning to the end on my own, so that I know when I get my own client, I can do the same. So that's essentially why I was there, just to learn. I'm still learning now. I don't know everything. Some clients that I go to, they're telling me stuff, I'm just like, okay, I didn't know that, but okay. But that's the thing. That's the nature of our job. Like, you can never know everything.
Yeah.
So for me, every day is a learning stage, and I'm just going to carry on learning. And that's exactly what I did in that first job. Nice.
Okay, cool. And so what was the kind of nail in the coffin that made you leave then? Because you were there for a year. I mean, that's a long time to put up with that.
There's some stories I probably can't even go into, because like, it's probably a criminal investigation, but like there was a couple nails in the coffin that I was like, no, I need to get out of here. Like, for a start, I don't remember signing a contract there.
Oh, I swear.
So even when I left, he wasn't obliged to pay me for that final month that I worked there. Yeah. So I was just like, you know what, like, there's a lot of dodgy stuff that I've overlooked only because it's my first job. But later on in my career, I probably can't overlook these sort of stuff. So yeah, there was probably a lot of nails in the coffin that I just let slide. But eventually enough was enough, and I had to get out of there. Yeah.
And did you have the second job lined up already, or did you just leave?
So I got the second job lined up. I took a day off, went for an interview, and I told them, yeah, I'm looking for a new job. I am working somewhere currently. What can you guys offer me, basically? And they told me what they can offer me. They told me, blah, 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 we'll help you finish your master's and all of that.
Promise you the world.
You get it? Yeah. Over promise and under deliver. So they did a lot of that, and I went back to my old manager, told him, I found a new job, so I need to resign. I gave him my letter. He scrunched it up, threw it on the floor, and said, give me the keys, don't come back. So literally the 2 weeks that I had to finish off there, it was finishing a day.
He just said, mate,
don't turn up again. Don't turn up again. So I called a new place. And I told them this is what's happened. They said, you can start tomorrow if you want.
Oh, wow.
So I started the next day.
Yeah. That's all right, to be fair. Yeah. But that is one guy that took that resignation personally.
He took it personally. That's the sort of guy he was. Like, I don't blame him for doing that. And like I said, it was a small place as well. So one person going is quite...
It rocks the
You get it. Because I was doing a lot. I was doing the surveys. I was doing the drawings. So now someone else has to fill my role. But because of his pride, he could have used that 2 weeks that I was there for me to train someone new or something like that. But because of his pride, man said, don't come back. So he's probably the one that had to go and do the surveys now, do the drawings while I was being hired. You get it?
It's funny though, because to be fair to him, not that I've got experience of kind of hiring people and them resigning from my business, but I remember Stephen Bartlett in one of his early episodes of Diary of a CEO, where he was saying that when the first person to resign from his business, or the first few people to resign from his business, he took it personally as well. Maybe they didn't behave in the kind of same manner as this guy did, but still took it personally. And I mean, I've got a bit of empathy for people that run their own businesses and obviously have people to resign, because I'm thinking to myself, would I? Maybe, because you kind of, as you alluded to earlier about not being too attached to the design, like you can't be too attached to like people working at the business. Of course, you want to get to know them.
And do you know what I'll say about that? I'll say one thing that I like about what I do now is that I've managed to learn every stage of the whole process. So although I've hired someone, essentially what they're doing, I can do it as well. You understand? So someone that's maybe like, if you hire an editor now, if they leave now, you can edit yourself for the meantime until you get a new editor. But there are some companies that rely highly on the people that work in their business because they can't do it themselves. So I find that very risky, because if they decide to get up and leave now, what are you going to do next? If I have someone that's literally finding me leads and clients, and they get up and leave, and I don't know how to find that, essentially I have no money coming in because I have no sales team.
Yeah.
So I would say it's important that you know every aspect of your business, and you don't rely on people heavily.
Yeah. No, that's a very good point. Guys, I'm hiring an editor if anybody wants to come and edit the podcast, by the way. I mean, you'll get paid in compliments, but, you know, I mean, if you're interested, apply below.
Yeah.
Boy, editing can be very time consuming.
It can be, 100%.
All right, cool. So that was your year with this guy. You've then gone to the second place that sold you dreams.
Yeah.
Told you we're going to pay for your
masters,
etc. And I think you mentioned that kind of 3 months in, is that when you started to realize that it just wasn't going to come to fruition?
Yeah. 3 months in, I was just like, yeah, man, they're not paying for my masters. I can just tell something's up about this place. So yeah, it was getting to winter now, and like things were drying up a lot. Like I started doing work in advance, because you have stages in architecture. You have the first stage, which is like the design process. Then you have the second stage, which is construction drawings, building regs, and all of that stuff. I started doing building reg drawings before the client had even asked for it. That's how dried up we were. So I'm doing something that they might not potentially need.
Yeah.
But to keep me busy and to keep the business rolling, that's just the way we're running things there, which wasn't the best, because if a client turns around and say, I don't need those drawings, then what next? Yeah, I've wasted my time. You understand? So
is it a thing where at least, like, even if that's the case, at least the drawing for you is good experience? Is that, well, no, not
for
really?
me, I was taking every moment as a privilege. Like I was appreciating every moment I could learn from someone there, because like I said, I'm just sponging up information.
Yeah.
They don't know my ulterior motive, but my ulterior motive is to leave there and go and start my own place.
Yeah.
But it's just unfortunate for me that it came earlier than I expected.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if that never happened, I'd probably still be sitting there. So I needed that extra kick up the arse to be able to go and start my own business, which I did. And it's a blessing in disguise, to be honest, because I probably wouldn't have started.
Yeah. So what else were you able to learn from these guys?
Wow. So they're very high, like they're very like keen on the design side. So they were allowed to do like VR experience for people.
Oh, wow, okay.
Like, so you could literally...
That's why you got your 360 camera there.
You get it. So I got the 360 camera, because now I can actually go into places, and you can see like all around.
Yeah.
And you can see how it was before and how it is after. So that's a lot of the things that I learned now from there. And they had a lot of softwares that they use, which I picked up there. They use a complete different design software than what I used before.
I swear.
So before, I was using ArchiCAD. When I went to the new place, I'd used SketchUp before, but I hadn't used it to the extent where they were using it.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot about SketchUp and like V-Ray and Twinmotion and Cooler. I learned a lot of stuff from that second place, because essentially they were very like clued up on that design side, which I learned a lot from. So yeah, like I said, sponging up information.
No, brilliant. And what was the size of that business then?
They were probably about between 7 and 10 people.
Okay, so similar-ish. Although, I mean, if you say 10, it's double the size of the other one. But yeah,
but
still similar.
To be fair, anything above 5 is quite decent size in an architectural firm.
Okay.
Because you'll probably get the ones that are like maybe like 50 in central London and all of that, but you're not really involved too much in certain stuff. You probably get like a little piece of the cake to do. But here, the smaller it is, the more I get to involve myself in the whole 100%. Process. So I would prefer a smaller firm than a bigger firm, because in a bigger firm, I'm probably just like shredding papers or something or making coffee. I wouldn't literally get to do as much as I'd want to do. So I prefer working in a small firm to get started, and then you learn a lot more.
So would that be, because what's interesting is my cousin's son, I know, has gone down the architectural route. I was recently catching up with my cousin, and she was saying that he was looking for work experience, basically, because I think he had to do 2 years or something, 2 years worth of work experience. And so I'm thinking about him as I ask this question, but is your advice kind of, and again, similar to what Sean was saying, but that was more, I guess, agency, more agency specific, from your perspective, working in a smaller environment is probably the better route to go and looking
100%,
for
100%.
And so how would you advise somebody, again, this is speaking to my cousin's son, how would you advise somebody like him go out and try and seek those opportunities?
Networking events, network with people, speak to people, put yourself out there, go on LinkedIn, create your profile, say that you're available to work. Depending on your circumstance, don't take the first job that comes on your table. Go to the interview, see how the business runs. As much as they're asking you questions, ask them questions back. Like, how were you guys during COVID? How did you cope during COVID? It's important to ask them questions so that they see that you're interested in what they're doing there as well.
100%.
So I would say literally put himself out there.
Yeah.
Create his LinkedIn profile, go to interviews, maybe 3-4 different interviews before you actually pick which one you want to work for, and probably aim for the ones that are doing best but kind of small. Yeah, rather than the ones that are big and you're just going to get lost in the building.
Yeah. And then what would you advise in terms of what they should look out for, I guess, from what the businesses are offering more specifically as well? So I'm thinking, I guess if it's a smaller firm, maybe they don't have such a structured training program per se, but what other things could they look out for?
Look out for in terms of in the business. Business.
So for example, where you just said that they should maybe go to 3 to 4 different interviews, what could they be looking out for that makes one business stand out over another, for example?
For me, I'm a good judge of character. So I could speak to the person interviewing me or the person that owns the business, and I could see if they're very like driven or very aspiring to grow their business. If I don't see that, I don't want to be part of your business. You understand? Because I know like you're just sailing along until another COVID comes. But if someone is driven to try and grow their business to a certain level where they can literally just pass on to their kids, then I want to be part of that. And that's something that you could learn a lot from, because that hunger to grow your business.
Yeah. Go out, win new business. It's not even just about winning new business. It's about retaining the current business that you have as well, isn't it?
100%. You can't just treat each client as a number, because you don't know who they're going to refer you to. So you got to have that hunger to keep going. A lot of business owners don't have that. They were just passed on their business by their granddad, and they're just literally just trotting along until COVID comes back. Like I need to see that hunger and desire to want to grow your business.
Okay, no, brilliant. So you spent a year at this second place. Was unfortunately made redundant. Well, I say unfortunately, but we've just discussed that. It is actually rather fortunate that you were made redundant. I think we discussed it yesterday. Obviously, similar story to me, right? But talk to me then about that kind of that immediate period where you knew you wanted to do your own thing. You maybe in your head, the plan was to do that a little bit longer, a little bit further down the time frame. You've kind of been put into this situation where you're at a crossroad. You're either looking for a new job or you're going to do your own thing. Why did you ultimately end up deciding that now was the time?
The way I'm explaining it, I've made it seem in my head like it was very straightforward, but I promise you it wasn't as straightforward as that. Like when I got called into the meeting that this is what we're going to have to do with you, I thought my life was coming to an end. Aside from that, I'd booked a holiday to Dubai, like in May. And this was March, so April, May. No income for 2 months. I'm pissed. I'm pissed. Like I'm going to Dubai with no money in my account. You get it? So apart from that in my head as well, I'm thinking about, cool, how am I gonna pay for my car? How am I gonna pay for rent? How am I gonna pay for this, pay for that with no money coming in? So I'm making it sound like a quick transition, but it wasn't. In that time where I lost that job and started my own thing, obviously my thing it wasn't at the stage where I can rely on it solely. I was delivering pizzas. I was doing Amazon delivery. I was trying to make ends meet wherever I could while I was trying to grow my thing. So it's a process that you're gonna have to do, but when it actually turns around for you and is actually becoming fruitful, trust me, you'll enjoy the process. Like you'll look back and you'll say, wow, I've been through a lot, but look at where I am now. And that's kind of the moments I have nowadays where I look at working at Amazon and looking at what I'm doing now. I get to speak on podcasts at Amazon. I wasn't speaking at no podcasts. You understand? So yeah.
No, brilliant. And I know you mentioned earlier that you started off looking for new clients while obviously at the old place because you realized that the business wasn't coming in like that, right? So just talk to me about that client acquisition bit where it came to bringing on board the first client, especially, again, as you said, maybe not the most confident. And so I can only imagine that might have been a bit daunting. And I know you said talking about letting your work speak for you and stuff, but you still need to get these people into a room at the end of the day, right? So yeah, talk to me about those kind of initial bringing on the first couple of clients and what that looked like and how that journey went for you.
So it started off by me doing work for friends and families. So that's the best way I could have got started because they essentially don't know what you can offer, but because they know you, then they probably have that side where they can trust you. So I started off doing some drawings for them, getting some referrals from them as well, because my older cousin is an architect as well, so he does a lot of this. So even when I was in uni, I was doing drawings for him. So I had a bit of experience even though I was in uni. But it's not easy getting that first client, especially not being a confident person. You have to speak to people. You have to let them know what you can offer. You have to try and uphold your prices because when they get that little sniff that you're not confident, your price is going down. Your price is going down. Like it'll get to the point where you're doing it for free. The amount of time and effort you're putting into the work compared to what they're paying you, you should have just told them, I'll do it for free, because that's how much you're gonna get at the end of the day. So confidence was very key for me to try and pick that up as soon as possible, because the most powerful thing I've ever heard someone say is that if you look at the word confident, in the middle you have the word, the two letters ID, which stands for identity. So knowing who you are will bring that confidence. Knowing what you can offer will bring that confidence. So there's a lot of things that are relying on the actual confidence. So I needed to know what I could offer people. What can I do that you can't do so that you need me for it? So once I understood what I could offer, that's when my confidence came in.
I like that a lot. That's powerful. I've actually never heard that ID in the middle of confidence, identity. I like that. And it's like, I mean, even for me, I'm in the sales game ultimately, and I do often think to myself like, okay, what do I offer and what not? And I'm a funny one because sometimes I'll go into calls and I'm like, do you get what I mean? I'm hyped up, I'm psyched. I'm like, I'm about to book 10 meetings and I'm about to close deals left, right and center. Sometimes I'll pick up the phone and I'm like, I don't really feel. When I find in those moments, I have to remind myself like, okay, what do I offer? Who am I? Why is it that these guys should speak to me type of thing? Do you get what I'm saying? And that resonates a lot with what you've just said there. So no, thank you for sharing that. Well, okay. So I also want to, well, actually, before we even get onto that, so starting a business, you then decided, so we're now, you said 23 or 24 that you started?
2023.
2023, yeah. So 2023, you started the business. What was, you obviously had the not help, but you've done work for friends and family, you're getting recommendations, etc., etc. Just talk to me about like the first few months of business then. What was that like?
Like I said, the first few months I was delivering pizzas. I was doing Amazon Flex. I was doing a lot of things to try and make ends meet. And at the same time, I had that holiday in the back of my mind that I was going to in May, Dubai. So it wasn't the easiest, but essentially working for someone else is not easy as well. So you got to pick which not easy you want. Because essentially, I know that growing my own thing, I can grow it to a certain stage where I don't have to work anymore. My kids don't have to work anymore. But working for someone else, you're not going to get that privilege of your kids not working because someone else is paying you. So, that's what I had at the back of my mind whilst I was doing all of that. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all, but you have to do it. You have to do it. Because if you see the bigger picture, you're just going to have to just say, do it. It got to a point where my car was smelling of pizzas all the time. But there's nothing a car wash can't solve.
This is it. This is it.
So you just got to literally find ways to solve each problem and just keep it stepping.
Okay. And so over that time now, we've been 2 years in business. I mean, I'm thinking challenges that you face, etc. What's kind of being in business taught you? What challenges have you faced that you've had to overcome, that you've really learned from? Talk to me about that side of running the business.
Ooh. So like I said, my thing is probably the speaking thing. Just speaking to people, trying to keep my prices. People trying to knock it down, not getting any sales coming in. There's a lot of things you can face, to be honest. A lot of things you can face, like clients not happy with your design, having to redesign it maybe 3, 4, 5 times. They're still not happy. Thankfully, I've never had someone ask for a refund, but yeah, like trust me, it's not easy, man. It's not easy.
Yeah.
Like starting off and just like not having the confidence as well.
Yeah.
And not having someone you can per se look up to. Yeah, man. You just have to literally, you're winging it.
Yeah.
You're winging it. That's the best way to put it.
That.
You're winging it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like the way you just put that in terms of particularly winging it, because again, speaking to people who have ideas and haven't necessarily started, I feel like a lot of people think they have to have everything sorted out and perfectly ironed out before they just start. But ultimately, start with the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And then take it from there.
Start with what
build
you have.
from that,
Yeah.
and then you never know where things might lead you, right? But then ultimately, the reason I was asking that kind of question around challenges and that side of things is just around kind of your mindset during that time frame as well. So it sounds like obviously, especially when there's periods where kind of business might not be coming in and stuff like that, and a client, well, you're probably in a stretch of period where you've not had business coming for a little while. You've got a client who's on your neck because maybe, as you said, you might have to redesign something 3, 4, 5 times, right? Just thinking about that kind of resilience that you need, the kind of mental fortitude that you need to kind of keep pushing through. Because as you said, entrepreneurship isn't easy. Neither is working a job, but maybe in circumstances like that, if working at a job isn't easy, I mean, you kind of experienced it yourself when you was at the business where the second business you worked for, where things weren't coming in, but at the end of the day you were still getting paid, and you ultimately could just sit there if you wanted to. Obviously you decided you were going to try and do things yourself, but ultimately, as I say, around the mental fortitude and just the resilience required for going into business, right? All right, so that brings us, so we're now 23, sorry, up until kind of this point. What's things been like recently? How's business going? What's been going on?
Not trying to blow my own trumpet, but
Hey, listen,
business has been going good, man. I recently went to Monaco with Sean and Denzel. And
I saw Denzel's vlog about that, actually.
That was a good experience, I can't even lie. Like, it just kind of showed me the level I want to get to with my business, the kind of people that I want to actually be doing work for, the kind of level I want to just take my business to be honest. And it allowed me to speak to people as well, network with people that are at that level as well. So I didn't go there looking for a potential client. I went there looking for people that can help me take my business to where it needs to be. So man, it's been going good. Clients are coming in. I've managed to hire someone now that completely does all my drawings now. So literally, I'm focused on the sales side and bringing people in and the client acquisition part. And someone else is doing the back end of the drawings. And then, I'm just literally working with them and then delivering to my clients. So it's the process is getting very much smoother. And soon I want to hire someone else to maybe work on the sales side so that I'm just literally overseeing. So literally, I'm seeing my business just
you've seen the progression
fall into place. Compared to when I was doing pizzas and stuff to now, I'm seeing a big improvement, and I know it's only going to get better. So there's 100%. No point in stopping or slowing down.
No, I love that. And so talk to me. It might come across as a bit of a silly question, but talk to me about when you knew it was time to kind of hire the person that you've got on board.
Like I said, when it comes to drawing plans and stuff like that, that's a timely process. And like I said, it needs to be done properly. Otherwise, you could end up with a steel beam that's too short. So, that's a lot of time on my hands where I could be focusing on bringing in more people. So, it allowed me, outsourcing was the biggest blessing I could do to my business. Like even my content nowadays, I don't edit them myself. I've outsourced that. I've outsourced the drawings. So essentially I want to focus on bringing people in and growing the business. So if I'm doing drawings, I can't do that at the same time. So yeah, I just had to outsource.
Yeah. And so something like architectural design, where it is drawings, as you say, well, to be fair, I don't know how subjective the kind of finished product is, because I'm thinking, for example, if you were to, let's say the Mona Lisa, for example, it's quite a subjective piece of art, right? Subjective. Some people love it, some people might not like it per se. With kind of architectural designs, how subjective is it as opposed to kind of matter of fact? It's very subjective.
Very, because what I like, you might not like
Okay.
it. So I've designed something that I feel like, this looks nice, but the client might not like it like that. So that's why it's good to speak to them. Like the brief that I give to the person doing my drawings is very detailed. I kind of tell them the way he should just do it, because I don't want the back and forth. Oh, I remember I told you this, but you haven't done this. So I want to avoid that as much as possible. So I've taken on the role of speaking to the people, getting the full breakdown of what they want, and then I pass it on to the back team. So, like I said, it's very subjective. What you like, I might not like it. So it's good to get that full picture from them by speaking to them, which I'm now confident in doing, speaking to them, getting the full image, and then pass it on to the team to do the drawing. So yeah, man, you get those clients that just like weird stuff. Like you just want to put a window in the smallest gap, but I'm just like, there's no point. But for them, there might be a very valid point. Maybe they want to put a plant there and they want to get some lighting. So for them, they have a reason for everything. So I can't argue with that. But the only point of view I can push out there is whether I think it will get planning or not. So that's where I'm useful. That's what I'm useful for, knowing whether we'll get planning for it or not. So at the end of the day, if you want something that's crazy and it can't get designed, I'll let you know. Yeah.
When it comes to knowing whether something gets planning or not, is it different from, like, I guess, council to council?
Very different. Councils, I feel like some councils work on their feelings. Like if a planning officer got slapped that morning by his wife, best believe every application is getting rejected that day. Best believe every application is getting rejected that day.
So you have to really keep on top of like what each council's even doing.
Yeah, but there's a lot of precedent for that. If you go on the council website, you can see applications from, I don't know, 10, 15 years back. So it's kind of like if you just look through that, I kind of use that as a basis and say, cool, they've approved this one. There's no reason why they shouldn't approve yours. But like I said, sometimes it's based on feelings, man. I've had one time where a planning officer refused an application just because she wanted to go on holiday early. Like it normally takes about 8 weeks. It came in about 6 weeks, and she hadn't fully looked at all the drawings I provided because she just wanted to go early. And like she even asked for more drawings. Yeah. And I provided it for her over the weekend, but I feel like it was a Sunday night she refused it, which was very odd. Yeah. So I've said, you haven't even looked at what I've sent you and you've refused it. That's what I'm saying. It's very based on feelings, very like, honestly, like, the council are a mess. Some of them are a complete mess.
Well, I'm not going to bait out my area, but I know the council I live in are an absolute joke.
See. And I agree. Honestly, I've done work in your area, and I agree with what you're saying. But they're not the worst. They're not the worst.
There's worse than this.
There's worse than this, man.
No way.
There's worse than this. Am I allowed to say where? Like, but,
I mean, you can say other. Yeah,
for me, Havering is the worst.
Is it?
Havering is the worst. But they'll put this in because they might blacklist me.
I'll beep it. I'll beep it. Nah, fair. All right, and so I wanted to bring it back now to just the recruitment aspect of things as well. Just get your take on I mean, funny enough, as I asked this question, I'm thinking, I'm asking this because I'm a recruiter, right? Just how you found the process as kind of a solo entrepreneur working for yourself and obviously bringing somebody on board. How have you found that process of hiring people and onboarding them into the business?
For me, I need someone that listens. And if I've given you a task to do, and essentially when I was looking for someone to do my drawings for me, I probably gave one drawing to about 3 different people. I said, cool, like all of you do this.
As in you gave them the brief, if you like.
I gave them the brief. I gave it to this person, gave it to this person, gave it to this person. I based it on the time I'm getting the drawings back, how much they listen to the brief, and then also, the quality of their work. So those three things, I put them together, and essentially that helped me to pick someone that I could trust to do the drawing. Like I said, it is a very risky thing. Like,
did you interview them?
No, I didn't interview them. Literally,
fine.
just the work speaks for themselves, innit?
So, you really believe in that?
The work speaks for themselves. Like, the thing is, like, someone that's Chinese speaks Mandarin, like, he could have the best work ever, but interviewing them is not going to do any benefit for me because they can't speak English.
I do hear,
So he might be able to do a good job at what I want him to do, but not be able to speak English. So like the work will speak for itself.
No, fair. And I always find it interesting when people kind of become almost overnight managers, if you like, especially when they've never managed somebody before. So how have you found that as well in terms of just kind of managing somebody?
It's not easy because sometimes, like, you can get frustrated, but you gotta, like, cool yourself down. Like, at the end of the day, like, no one's gonna have the same hunger you want for your own business. So there's no point taking it out on someone just because they haven't got that same vision or hunger. So you have to be a bit relaxed sometimes, learn how to speak to people. Customer service is very important. I learned that working in McDonald's, funny enough. Like, McDonald's taught me a lot of things that you probably wouldn't realize it could teach you. All the jobs I've worked at, I've learned something from it. I've worked at McDonald's, I've worked at Amazon warehouse, I've done Amazon delivery. Like I said, I've done pizza, I've worked in Asda, I've worked River Island. The list goes on. No, I like that, especially around the piece around just learning from every environment that you're in, because that's something that I'm very big on as well. And which is also why I strongly believe in kind of, as I said towards the top of the conversation, around getting more people like yourself who are kind of earlier on into their journey of entrepreneurship, because I strongly believe you can learn anything from, well, not anything, but you can learn from everyone. I've been caught speaking to homeless people numerous times. Just don't get me wrong, they might not be able to teach me about building wealth, but they can certainly teach me something about life. Do you get what I mean? 100%.
And so I very much co-sign that. I also wanted to talk about the content side of things again, as somebody who's kind of a self-proclaimed somebody who's self-proclaimed with self-proclaimed lack of confidence, if you like. The content creation game is obviously another aspect of things where you obviously need confidence, put yourself out there. So have you found transitioning into kind of being, and actually funny enough, that's how I came across you. I think I told you, innit? I saw your TikTok. And then I reached out to Denzel and I was like, because again, I think he reposted one of your TikToks.
Like, you know him.
So I was like, oh, do you know this guy? He was like, yeah, it's my brother-in-law. I was like, mad. So, podcast, what you saying? And here we are, literally, three, because I spoke to you yesterday.
We're here today.
And we're here today. By the way, I love that. This movement. You know what
quick velocity. I call it velocity.
This is it. And you know what they say, right? They say anything you listen to, they say the best entrepreneurs out there are just the people that move quickly. And so Joel, I rate the fact that we had the conversation yesterday, and you're like, today. I'll come tomorrow.
It's not even been 24 hours.
It's not even been 24 hours. And here we are. But so I just wanted to touch on kind of that content piece around, because it's something I'm getting into as well, content creation. It may not always be easy to see the benefit of it, especially immediately. So just speak to me about your own content creation journey and kind of why you got into it, how it's going, and what the plan is.
With my background in architecture, like I'm kind of like a perfectionist. So I can't put something out there if I don't see like it being good enough. So that has kind of like hindered me a lot from putting certain content out there. I have a big backlog of stuff that I could have posted but I haven't posted. But then essentially nowadays anything can blow up. Like, you have Cabby that's not even speaking, just going like that, and it's blowing up. So the thing is, you don't even need to speak nowadays, and it could blow up. So I'm just literally on putting anything out there. Not anything. It's got to make sense and it's got to have relation to what I'm doing. Put it out there. You never know who might see it. Like even what you saw, I done that literally in about 10 minutes. Edited it, but now I don't even edit my own stuff, because if I am doing that, I'll take a lot longer to put stuff out there, because I'm very cautious of how I look, how I'm speaking, how I sound. But if someone else does it, I'm just like, it's fine. So that's helped me a lot to getting stuff out there more quicker, and it's helped me a lot.
Yeah. And what would you say the kind of importance of, or not even importance, because I'm not necessarily saying social media is important, but what would you say is the reason you got into the content creation side of things?
Because, like you said, you watched the episode of Stephen Bartlett, and I watched an episode as well. Someone spoke about personal branding and how it's actually overtaking people's actually businesses. So it's important, like, that I invest in myself rather than my business, because essentially it will show in my business how much I invest in myself. So yeah, that's why, because and it's the best platform to push myself out there. TikTok, Instagram, even Facebook. I found that Facebook have a lot of mature clienteles there. So if I'm looking for like mature people, it's Facebook I'm gonna push those stuff out to. If I'm looking for like the maybe viral stuff or viral aspects, TikTok or Instagram. So I kind of like, I don't post all my stuff on everywhere. Like, say if I had a video,
you're more selective.
Yeah, more
like,
selective.
This video might go here today. This, okay.
So that's another thing I've learned as well. So yeah, man, personal branding is big, and I'm. It's only recently that I've realized that, but I'm pushing on it now that I've realized.
Yeah. So what's next for JNG Architectural Studio? I know you mentioned about hiring somebody else, but
the sky's the limit, man. The
sky's the limit.
I'm looking to work with more luxury builds and stuff like that. So I'm currently designing something in Ghana, a 15-story building, which hopefully is going to get built. So I'm in the design process of that, but I'm looking to push my work to the luxury stage, work with more high-end clients, and that's the main reason why I went to Monaco, to try and like network out there. So yeah, man, the sky's the limit. Trust me, I'm gonna keep pushing.
No, I love that. And with I imagine you might say network, but just to kind of crystallize the point, if you like, in terms of, obviously you're by yourself, you're doing your thing. Architecture, I can imagine, given the amount of red tape that might be involved and just the nature of the beast, if you like. How do you kind of keep on top with what's going on? How do you, when you're in periods where things are slow, or you're mentally just not there, or your things aren't necessarily going as you like, etc., how do you keep pushing forward? I know there's an aspect of, okay, business needs to get done. You don't want to work for somebody, for example. But is there an element of, or do you have a network of people that you can reach out to, that you tap into? How does that look?
Yeah, my circle is very tight. Business owners, people that are doing well for themselves, and that kind of like pushes me to go on and do better. Like, I have friends that are musicians. I have friends that are, Denzel's a high-end deal sourcer. Sean is doing his thing in the new build sector. Some of my friends play for artists such as Thames and all of that. So having that circle of people that are doing well for themselves, even my sister, she's a big-time baker, cake baker. So yeah, like, that's kind of like my motivation to keep going, because everyone's doing their thing. You don't want to get left behind.
Yeah.
And I've kind of like picked up the habits of just staying on track.
Yeah.
I read the book Atomic Habits.
Yeah, James Clear, great book.
Yeah. And it's literally taught me like habits can literally make or break you.
Yeah.
And if you kind of like get lost in the silly habits of like just sitting down, wasting time, you're gonna turn out like my old boss. Like my old boss, literally. Yeah.
On his own thing.
So like I've literally picked up the good habits, and I'm still picking up good habits that I need to like stay consistent on. And yeah, man, hopefully I get there.
Yeah. Nah, you will, and I know you will, man. Just talking to you, I know you're a determined guy, great guy as well. So I know it'll happen for you, man. Brilliant. You mentioned obviously Atomic Habits by James Clear there.
You're reading that as well?
I've read it. Yeah. I've read it. It's a good book. I've actually read it about 2 or 3 times to be fair.
That's the thing. You need to, because you might not pick it up the first time.
100%.
When you read it the second time, you're like, rah, I missed this.
100%.
Yeah.
I was going to go into what your kind of either book or podcast recommendation, or kind of other resources that aspiring entrepreneurs, even current entrepreneurs, can tap into that you found useful. So maybe that's the book you'd answer. But is there anything else?
Definitely that book, because you need the right habits. And yeah, Stephen Bartlett, the CEO, like, different people come on there. It might not be related to your business, but it might be related to you yourself. Like, there's people that have come on there talking about sleep. Yeah. And I'm just like, wow, I didn't know about that. You understand?
It's true.
So it might affect my business somehow or somewhat, but I pick up on all the episodes that he does. And yeah, man, it's literally benefiting my life.
Yeah. And what does success look like to you?
Success looks like, so currently I'm working on a program which helps people to do what I've done. I want to teach people that you don't have to come out of uni, go and work for someone. You can literally come out of uni, start your own thing and push from there. So success to me is seeing people do what I've done or creating a legacy in my sort of field. And yeah, that's what I'm really heavy on at the moment.
Yeah, and working towards.
that will be successful for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Any kind of final parting words for the listeners out there, aspiring entrepreneurs, they're listening to Joe? There's one thing they took away from this episode. What would that be?
I'd say, listen, if you're working somewhere, start something of your own, because you never know what's around the corner, and you never know what that thing can become. Like, even like I said, I mentioned my sister. She started off by making cakes for church, and now she's been doing that business for 7 years now.
Nice.
So you never know what it can become, and you never know what's around the corner. Like, COVID can come, and like your business can be on a standstill. Can be on a standstill. Your job can be on a standstill, but if you have your business there, like, you can pick up from that.
Yeah.
So I would say start wherever you're at, and yeah, man, just watch the space, and the sky's the limit.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Boy, Joe, I appreciate it, man.
The Blackprint podcast. Yeah, trust me. Big things coming. Big things coming, man.
Boy, fingers crossed, big things coming, bro.
Yeah.
Nah, listen, I greatly appreciate that, man. It's been an absolute pleasure sitting down and speaking with you, man. And listen, I know, well, let me just say the lack of confidence did not come through in this episode, man.
I hope so.
Nah, you sprinkled some gems out there, and you've come across really well. So I appreciate that, man. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing bigger and better things from JNG Architectural Studios, man. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure I followed the TikTok when I saw it. So because if I see black people doing their thing, I just tend to follow. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, obviously wishing you all the best.
Likewise.
Thank you, appreciate that, and thank you so much for coming down, man.
Anytime, man.
Bro.
Anytime. Thank you for the invite.
All good, man. All good. I've loved it. It's been a good one. Yeah. Boy, guys, there we are. Another episode in the bag. Joel Gati, JNG Architectural Studios, doing big things. Watch this. I'm looking forward to actually going and stay in your place in Ghana when it's built, actually. Now that I think about it. I went across last year. And
did you?
I need to get back.
December?
No comment. No comment.
Hey,
December, what's that? Hey, guys, thank you very much for rocking with us. This has been another episode of The Blackprint. I've been your host, Spainy, joined by my guest, Joel Gati.
Come on.
Guys, we will catch you on the next one. Before that, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Where can people find you, actually?
You can find me on Insta, JNG. All my socials will be down below, but you can find me on Insta, JNG Archie Studio. You can find me on TikTok, Joel Gati. You can find me on Facebook, JNG Architectural Studio. You can also go on my website, which is jngarchitecturalstudio.com.
There we go. You heard that? Guys, go and hit up all of those sites, all of those social media platforms, and follow Joel as well as The Blackprint. If you haven't already, stop playing yourself, man. Get on it. We'll catch you on the next one, guys.
In a bit.
Peace.